to Deep Thoughts, Shallow Plots. My name is Erika, and I really like to watch horror movies.
My name is Katy, and I really like to overanalyze things. What are we overanalyzing today?
Today, we are overanalyzing the 2001 film Jeepers Creepers, the Justin Long vehicle,
Yeah.
or the Justin Long Gina Phillips vehicle, because, as you had just mentioned, they're co-stars.
Yes. And I like her work in this.
Yeah, she does great. I mean, that's the one thing about this film is that it's got a really, really small cast.
Yeah.
Which
And they bring it.
is something I really like. I like when a film, especially a horror movie, can have a small cast.
Yeah. And as we talked about at the end of our last episode,
Yeah.
this was the first horror movie I ever watched, and I hated every minute of it.
Yes. And you had to finish it in the daylight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw it because I read quite a few interviews with like Gina Phillips. That apparently her and maybe Justin Long also, like when they got the script, they like read half of it and then needed to put it down and like come back to it the next day because they were like freaked. I guess it also had a lot of like concept art for what the creeper would look like and stuff.
Oh, I bet early concept art for the creeper was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have like a really explicit memory of watching this movie, you know, and I don't really have like a memory of like the first time I watched this movie, but I definitely remember it was one of the like earliest horror films to like come up for me that I would like actually watch, because I actually, even though I introduced myself as loving horror movies, and I do, I didn't until like kind of senior year of high school. It's like when I first got into it. So this is obviously before that. In 2001, we were 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you probably watched it when you were like 12, like a couple years later.
Middle school. Yeah.
Once it was like on VHS or DVD or whatever.
We watched it a little bit after the sequel came out because we also watched the sequel right after.
Oh, okay.
When it was the morning.
In the morning, you watched Jeepers Creepers.
We watched the last 5 minutes of Jeepers Creepers
Yes.
and we had left. And then we're like, well, that was a letdown. I guess we'll watch the sequel. What else are we going to do with our day?
Truly. Yeah, so I just like in my brain there's like a special place for Jeepers Creepers and like, you know, my
That era
horror
of horror,
education,
yeah.
you know.
A nice starter horror.
Even a good starter horror, exactly. I was just about to say, like, I'm not saying that this is a good movie.
No.
I'm just saying it's got like a specific spot on the shelf, you know.
Yes. Helms ever.
Yeah.
As we were like, yeah, and so next we're going to do Jeepers Creepers. Yay, we're going to talk about that.
And then
Sound guy Matt
educated us.
Yeah, I was like, are you aware that the writer-director of that film,
Producer
Victor
guy,
Salva, is a convicted pedophile? We were like, no. Yeah, no, and we were both like, if we had known, we may have made a different choice about what film
honestly,
to do.
Like we've got like
So
a Google
many.
Doc
Full of movies
full
to do.
of movies we could do. We totally could have picked something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because like while this, you know, this movie has like a spot on on the shelf in my brain.
Yeah.
Like not in the sense of paying attention to like the filmmakers.
Right. And what I find also interesting about it is that like he continued, Victor Salva, so he was convicted in like 89,
The late
90,
1980s.
Yeah, 89 or something like that.
That actually really, I was fascinated by that.
Right.
That it was that long ago.
And then after he got out, he continued to make movies,
Truly,
including Jeepers Creepers and the sequel, and eventually
the third one.
Yeah, I was like, the prequel?
He's got a hand in the entire trilogy. Yeah.
But what I find interesting is that like there were like when some of his other films came out, like he also did Powder.
Yeah, he's done things.
He's done things. Like there were a few
he's a director.
like protests and things like that and people trying to raise awareness. But it really wasn't until Jeepers Creepers 3 in 2017 came out.
2017.
What was important about that era?
Yeah.
It was like right as the Me Too movement started.
I feel like 2017 was like the height of it. I feel like
I think it really peaked in 2018. I don't know. Memory time.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know. But it's that era.
Yeah.
And like it's like it took everybody else sort of talking about the general
other things in the general culture
thing for him to finally be dropped as like a writer and director.
Someone they use.
As far as I know, he hasn't done anything at least publicly since then.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. And I do find it's interesting because it's like, okay, this is stuff that happened in 89, or I mean,
The late
it happened
80s, early 90s.
But though he did it for a while.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, do we believe that when you serve your time? Like, I don't really want to be somebody who
Yeah,
like judges
what-
people for their criminal record.
Yeah.
To some extent, and I also want to be somebody who believes in redemption, but that's more on like a personal one-on-one basis with people I know.
Sure.
Not when it comes to supporting artists and wanting people to be back into positions of power that they previously used to hurt people.
For abuse, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like, to me, what just interested me, like the most fascinating part of it was that like his conviction was in the late 80s and he was like serving jail time until the like early 90s,
Yeah.
right? And so like the early 90s, okay, that was kind of a long time ago. And so it's like, usually people like this, if they're continually given opportunities to do what he did, like abuse his power in that way, then they will do it again.
Right.
But then at least doesn't seem like there were any other convictions. Now, just because there wasn't a conviction doesn't mean it didn't happen, but also maybe it didn't. And so like, I don't know, there's something there for me that like, this was something that happened a long time ago. And like, yes, it happened. And like, that's fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
But like, again, he's been back in these positions that he previously abused and like did not seem to be doing that anymore.
Right.
As far as I could tell, as just like a consumer of his media.
But I also just don't know. I mean, because I'm not somebody who thinks that like people who have done honestly horrendous things in the past means that we should just like shun them from society, because I don't think that solves things.
Right.
But I also don't see putting them back into the same position that they were in. It's a complicated thing, and I also think it's more complicated when it's like it's one thing to like boycott an author of a book series, you know?
Sure.
Versus a whole movie, because it's such a collaborative medium that it seems weird to be like...
But even if you are the producer, director, writer...
Yeah.
You know, there's still so many other hands
like,
because
I appreciate so much... The reason I love this film is because of what Justin Long and Gina Phillips really brought to like Trish and Derry's relationship.
It's a Justin Long vehicle.
Yeah. And I even found out some of their lines were like improvised, and like the whole last act of the script was rewritten because of budget cuts with a lot of their improvised work. So like a lot of the things that I love most about the relationship may not have even come from Victor Salva.
Right.
I mean, we don't know how much. And so it's like, how do you separate the art from the artist when there are like multiple artists involved in it?
Truly. Yeah.
And like, though, do we even want to do it in these cases? Like, at one point, do you just not separate the art from the artist and you just throw away the whole thing?
Right.
And how much responsibility do we bear as just some little podcast that people don't really listen to? Like, yeah.
We're just having our deep thoughts about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was mentioning this off mic that like the thing is that like if this were a trade-off I could make, if I could make this trilogy of films not exist, in exchange for like no harm befalling a child, you know, at the hands of Victor Salva, like, yeah, I would make that trade. It's not that amazing of a trilogy.
Right.
But
even if it was an amazing trilogy, I would still make that trade.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, because it's not an amazing trilogy, it's even easier to make that trade. It's like, yeah, absolutely 1,000%. But also, I just kind of wanted to talk about a movie that I watched when I was 12. Like that,
I know.
That's just kind of what I want to do. Can we still do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're going to.
We're gonna.
So I guess, but like, are we okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, and it's weird because these are also people who we just don't know in any real way, because they're famous people who are just not in our actual lives. So it's like, I don't know how much, I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah.
We have complicated, kind of gross feelings about it.
But
I don't think we're going to really talk about him at all for the rest of this.
After knowing that about him, and then doing my research for this episode, which was watching the rest of the franchise and taking notes, I'm kind of like noticing some stuff that's like, now that I know more about Victor Salva, it's like, oh, interesting choices here. Huh.
I don't know how I feel about those choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
But you know what is not complicated?
What?
This film. Or certainly not the plot.
Oh, that took me out.
Yeah. This is one movie we can very easily summarize the plot of in one sentence.
Yeah. A fucking creepy creeper wants to eat the body parts of people to regenerate its own body. And it goes after a brother and sister named Trish and Derry.
And then hilarity ensues.
And then,
We basically have like 3 characters in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
There are
3 main and then 2 kind of peripherals,
Yeah.
I would say. Derry and Trish, who are siblings. Oh, do you know, did you find out where they live? I know where they live.
Oh, I knew it was shot in Florida,
Yes.
but then it's like, is it Florida or was it just... Okay.
This entire franchise, all 3, the trilogy takes place in North Central Florida.
I'm sure that is really important to some people.
I'm sure of
I'm sure
it.
some people are like North Central Florida.
Because that
vibe.
That is the area where the creeper is,
Yeah.
like is hunting, is
Yeah.
in North Central Florida.
Yeah.
So just so
Okay,
you know.
so just put yourself into a North Central Florida state of mind.
Right.
Really get in there. You know, all those North Central Florida things.
and so
Roads.
and more roads and farms,
Skim cats.
scarecrows,
Scarecrows.
but also still crows though.
But crows.
And ravens.
So we're not scaring them enough.
So Derry and Trish are on their way home. They're on a road trip home
from college.
college.
They're on their spring break.
Bannon.
Woo!
And yeah, they're spending their spring break driving 10 hours to
And
get
they're
home.
specifically going the back roads.
Why?
I think. Well, Derry is kind of bugging Trish about like why she agreed
Why
to go
we're-
back roads,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's just because she wants some like mental space
From
and
home?
from home and from school because it sounds like
Takes a
she
long
has
way
her
home.
poli-sci jock boyfriend that Derry is teasing her about
Uh-huh.
that it seems like she just maybe broke up with.
Okay. Good
And
for
so
her.
I don't know. I honestly think that she just wanted some time to annoy her brother and be annoyed by her brother and have good sibling time.
Yeah, and just
That's what
have.
I think.
That's nice. Oh,
I think
love,
they just wanted some
I love
time.
that idea. Anyway, so they're taking the long way home. You know, they're just so in college. Like
They're so in college.
Darius. I want to call him Darius because I like the name Darius and I don't like the name Derry, even though he is referred to as Derry this entire
Yeah.
film.
Is he ever called Darius other than in the
Yes.
deleted line from the creeper?
It says, because remember his name is written on his
underwear.
underwear. And it says Darius.
Is this a moment when we could talk about all the weird things about Derry?
Yeah, let's get into these characters. Yes. Derry, played by Justin Long. Just first and foremost, Derry, terrible job of keeping his eyes on the road.
Yes.
Which is a big pet peeve of mine.
Yes.
In movies and TV. While he's not even driving his car, it's his sister's car.
I know, and she lets him know that.
Yeah, so
She's
really
like, you are
should
not
be.
going through stop signs in my car.
And he's just really obviously like a college boy. Like he's got his college shirt on.
Yeah.
That like, you know, he's in for like the first 2/3 of the film until it gets ripped, you know. And he's not thinking long term. He's like bringing dirty laundry home, you know.
Yeah.
But and also just as the film progresses, like he's not thinking their
No.
long-term safety.
He's thinking with a 22-year-old brain.
Yes. And also younger, he's probably like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a child.
That's true, because she's also still in college, and she's the older one.
She's the older
She's
one.
probably got a 22-year-old brain.
Yeah. And my favorite, or one of the funniest things to me that Darius does in this film is when they hear the Jeepers Creepers song on the radio and they know they've been told at that point that is
Bad news for
Bad
them.
News Bears. He turns up the song. He does. Turns the volume up and proceeds to scream over.
It's that song!
It's just like, Darius, deep
We
breath.
get it. We get it. We get it. He's got a lot of traumatized stuff going on. Like, he's at like an 11,
Yeah.
basically from the moment he sees the first dead body.
That's true. He is obsessed with that pipe.
Yeah.
When like they see the creeper that they don't know is the
Yeah.
creeper yet, like, because I mean, do we even need to say that like Darius and Trish are on the road, right? And they are met with like this super creepy kind of not like in bad shape
But old and sort of jerry-rigged truck.
truck with a vanity license plate that they think says
Beating
"Beating
you.
you."
But it's actually be eating
Oh,
you.
so clever.
Because he's a cannibal.
Well, is he a cannibal?
I don't
not human.
Yeah, that's true. We will talk about the lore.
Yeah, we gotta wait. Hold on. Let's table that. Put a pin in that. Yeah. When
and so
they see him.
Yeah, dropping some sort of sheet down a pipe
with red stains on it, roughly the size and shape of
a human,
an adult human. He's obsessed. He's like, we have to go back. And I'm like, why do you have to go back?
I know. Trish is like, or we go forward
yes.
to a telephone.
Yes.
And we call the cops.
Right.
Or an adult. Trish is
an actual adult. Technically, they're both adults, but are they?
Trish, no, Trish is with me. Call an adult.
Call an adultier adult than them.
Yes. But no, we haven't even talked about the weirdest thing about Derry.
Yeah, I was gonna let you do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The weirdest fucking thing about him is that he has a little all black rose tattoo right next to his
kind of like
belly
curved
button,
around his belly
little
button.
navel, all sexy like. What is that?
What is that?
And it's like it's okay. So it's a setup for the movie so that like.
So we can recognize him.
So we know it's like his body, and so that the psychic on the phone can be like, "You have a rose tattoo." But it's like we see that tattoo because his shirt gets ripped. He also rips off his sleeve. Give him a fucking shoulder.
Give him a shoulder tattoo,
like
or like like a back of the shoulder.
Yeah. And not a rose.
Why a rose? Or yes, a rose, but like a nicer rose than that. It was a pretty shitty.
And there's like no reason for him to have any sort of connection to rose. I mean, maybe he loves rose. I don't know.
Yeah, why
I don't know
rose?
his life.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of people on the internet who are like, well, it's because he's gay.
I mean,
and I'm like all their evidence for it is like he's quote unquote feminine because he has like his underwear is pink.
But remember, he tells the story it got dyed pink. Remember? Yeah.
I guess there was also a cut line.
Okay.
Of Trish saying something like, well, maybe they know something about you that you don't.
Like
an implication. And I also heard from random people on the internet talking about deleted scenes and why he's gay. About like maybe there was a line about him checking out one of the cops.
Oh.
So, I mean, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't necessarily see like a weird rose tattoo on your belly. I mean, I guess.
That's just weird for anyone.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't necessarily ping is like.
What self-respecting gay
would
get a bad rose tattoo
I know.
on their navel?
It would at least be a good tattoo.
Yeah.
It seems, you said when we were watching that, it seemed more like a frat hazing
maybe
prank thing, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just, it's fucking weird.
It's weird.
It's a weird choice.
So Derry's weird. And Trish she's better. I don't know how much better though.
I think, you know, we're set up with Derry having a lot of like kind of bravado. Yeah. Because he's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to save this person. You know, this could, what if it was you down there in that pipe dying? You know, we need to go save that person. But like when it comes down to it, Trish is really the one who doesn't succumb to the fear in the same way.
Right. She still does some stupid shit though.
Well, yeah.
Like when she's allowed Derry to go investigate the pipe, which I don't know why she allowed him to do that. Yeah. Why that happened. But when she lets him go do that and he's down there and she's supposed to be keeping an eye out.
Yeah.
For the
I know. She just kind of drops the ball.
She thinks is a murdering people and like almost ran them off the road a few times now. And she's like not paying attention. And then actually, you know, we were talking about like, oh, what are like those like the nuances in this film that you're like, oh, I like that, like that shot or like, you know, whatever. That actually, I do really like that when we like see Trish, her like back is to the road and we can see like headlights start to come down the road. I'm like, ooh,
again, it's like, Trish, what the fuck are you doing?
It's a big truck and then I think the music is starting to play. Yeah, like, Trish, don't you hear that music?
Trish, what is your problem?
So
no, Trish actually has I don't know. There are a lot of good shots with Trish. There's that one also when they are in the cop, and the final act is all in the police station. Right. And Derry and Trish are hiding out in one room, in like an interrogation room, and the creeper is on the other way of the one-way mirror and like sniffing Trish through the glass, and like Trish doesn't really know. It's like a really good shot.
Yeah.
Because we can like see him doing it and her just like there, not. Yeah. Trish she just doesn't know.
She's oblivious.
But, you know, she has her big brave moment at the end.
She does. She tries to sacrifice herself for her little brother. That
Did you know
really cute.
One of the songs on the score is called My Brother's Creeper?
No! Oh my God! It's so cute. See, who made that choice? Was it Victor Salva?
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
My brother's creeper. I love it. Yeah. Can we just get deep on how much I love their sibling relationship?
Absolutely. You love a sibling relationship. You love a brother-sister relationship.
Yes, because I have a very good relationship with my brother, sound guy Matt.
Yeah. But he's the older one.
He is the older one.
This is an older sister
He's the
situation.
Trish, I'm the dairy.
Okay.
I'm the one with the questionable tattoo. But no, I think sibling relationships are something that horror should latch onto more often.
Sure.
I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Because I think, like you've said, a lot of our fears are rooted in like childhood moments.
Oh my gosh.
Therefore, siblings have a lot of the same rooted fears.
And also a lot of my fears come because I have an older sister. Mm-hmm. She's not Trish. She's Derry. I'm Trish. But she's an older sister. But she's like, you and sound guy Matt are like 2 years apart.
Right, yeah, we're tight. We're probably closer to Trish and Derry's age.
My sister and I are 5.5 years apart.
It's a very different vibe.
It's a different vibe, yeah. But because she was older than me, she was doing things that were age appropriate for her, but like not for me. And like, there's like so much stuff that like used to scare the crap out of me that like my sister would watch on TV that I thought was just like the scariest thing. And like, yeah. Oh,
and I just think, I think there's something there, and I think there's,
and then not to mention the physical fights siblings can get into. Like, I think Sandra tried to smother me with a pillow. I don't know how many times.
Yeah. Oh, I beat the shit out of my brother a few times.
Yeah. And like,
he wasn't allowed to hit me because I was younger. So I would just hit the shit out of him.
Yeah, and he'd be like, Jesus Christ.
But that's what I love about siblings.
Yeah.
I love that they can just be roasting each other.
Yes,
while
or they don't need to physically fight. They can verbally fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Siblings roast each other. Yeah.
Like nobody's, like they are so mean to each other.
I'm thinking of my cousins. They fought constantly growing up. They were never not fighting.
Yeah, no, and Trish and Derry in this film are like constantly fighting.
Yeah.
Which is a really fun dynamic because we also still know that like the love is there.
Right.
Like they're going to lie for each other about, tell their parents different stories about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like they chose to do this 10-hour road trip together. Which they didn't have to, and they're like checking in on each other.
And even when they have the little like calling each other names game.
Which is a game.
It's a game.
First off.
And then they're like, but then it's just like, how you said that's a repeat. We already said ass, whatever, And then they like laugh about it. It's just like, it's like sibling stuff.
No, they have like multiple games that they play together to keep the road trip going, which is so cute.
Like a fucking long one.
Yeah, they play their little vanity plate game. Yeah. They do, what you were just talking about. And then I also love when they finally when they first see the creeper dumping a body. Yeah. Trisha's like, wrapped in a sheet. And Derry's like, wrapped in a rope in a sheet. And Trisha's like, wrapped in a rope in a sheet with red stains. And then she like has to stop to herself and be like, wait, this is not a game we're playing. Yeah. This is like actually a dead body we should talk about. Like they can't even help themselves from getting into that like that sibling cadence where everything's kind of a joke and a game. Yeah. Like, I love it. And they just, and they also have that moment of fear when they're first being chased by the truck and they, get run off the road. Yeah, and then Derry immediately is like, beating you. Point for me. It's like, you just had a very traumatic moment.
Oh my God,
you have
like
to
you
joke
almost
about
died,
it.
yeah.
And you have to immediately joke about it. And they just...
But then, of course, does he lose that point when that is not actually the license plate?
They never acknowledged that. That would have been a great moment. Yeah. For one of them to just be like, oh shit, it's bee eating you.
Yeah, like when Giselle says, it's bee eating you. And then, whoever she's talking to on the phone while the other one is like listening in, right? That other one could have been just like, not a point. So I don't know.
Point Giselle.
Just some rewrites.
But I know, I love that. I love everything about their sibling relationship. I love that they both, in different ways, kind of get themselves into this situation. Because like he has a phone, but it doesn't work. So she gives him crap about that. But he's like, oh, but I have a power cord. And she's like, oh, but I have a lighter that like a lighter thing in my car that doesn't work, so we can't actually use the power cord to power your phone. So it's like they're both fucking up.
They're both fucking up because they are children. Yeah. Well, and also it's 2001, and they have like Trisha's got kind of an older car. Yeah. And like it's 2001, so like any cell phone Justin Long would not be a particularly functional one. Yeah. Because this is something else that I thought of, just like I saw this theme that like we've kind of been noticing through a lot of the films we've watched is like the theme of like the highways and like rural America and like sprawl. And how you can go like just via a highway, you can spend so much time being absolutely nowhere and like nowhere near anything you might need, you know?
Yeah. Because that is a main problem in this film.
Yeah, this is exactly it. Like, that's literally all three films. It's
right, because
they're
it's like a bus
stranded on the highway, and they like can't, and they have to survive against this creeper. Like, that's
that is it
every single time. Yeah,
they spend a bit of time in like small towns in this one, and like
the
cat lady that they try to get help from.
Yes, I love her. I also love. She does not have a name.
She's just the cat
lady.
She
does not have a character name. She's credited as the cat lady.
Yeah. What else do you need to know? She's got like 80,000
Eileen
cats.
Brennan.
Bring it, Eileen.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
What we didn't talk about with their sibling relationship is also just like, I love that they can love each other in this really big way. That like, I think a lot of other horror films would do like romantic tension or something. They would have two characters who aren't, you know, they would be like a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Yeah. And in fact, in the first couple minutes of the movie, you maybe wouldn't know if these two are boyfriend and girlfriend, or if they're like, you see two young people in a car.
Sure.
You might be like, oh, it's a horror movie.
Maybe it's a boyfriend and girlfriend.
You know, because that's often the people, like we also get that great little urban legend moment where they're talking about Kenny and Darla.
Yes, 23 years ago.
The prom night incident from 78, you know, and how they have like their kind of slightly different versions, you know. And it's like, because we have a lot of urban legends about like a young college age, whatever, couple or a high school couple.
And, you know, that's interesting. What they do in, so this film is a trilogy, right? But then there's a, like a reboot, right, called Jeepers Creepers, I think, Reborn. It's from like 2000, I think it's like 2021, 2022, really recent. And it's like completely different. It's completely different lore, like completely ignores the canon, a lot of the canon of the first trilogy. But what the way they open it, which I thought was very clever, is with like an elderly couple. So it's like it's an elderly man and woman, and they're married, but they've been married for like 40 years, and like
got that vibe.
They're pretty fucking cute too. Yeah, and so like that was nice. But I know what you're saying. Like in horror movies, but like all movies, it's like we do seem to over focus on like romantic love.
Yeah,
and it's just like but like sibling love is also a great. Awesome kind of love.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I just think about how like I said, because of like budget cut reasons, they had a different ending written. That was some like epic scene thing where like Derry was going to kind of like take the creeper's car and drive it into a oncoming train or something.
Holy
it was going to be like some big set piece.
Ooh,
like Derry was going to try to sacrifice himself.
And they were like, no.
Yeah. And they like could not pull that off. But what they did have was about a week worth of footage of Gina Phillips and Justin Long improvising their characters' relationships with each other. And they used a lot of the stuff that they came up with that to like write a new ending that was more character focused, which is the one we get.
Right.
And I love it. I love the things that she says where she's like, I have everything the same inside. You take me. When she's pleading with him to like, take me. I won't fight. I'm stronger. You want me. Because she's like so desperate to save.
Yeah.
She's like being the older sibling in that way. And being like, we are the same. Because there is that thing in like family relationships where it is like we are one unit in a way that like I don't know. I like to think that because Gina Phillips also talked about how she had a brother with like a similar age difference, so it was really easy for her to sort of step into the role of Trish through that. And I love to think about that line that where she's like pleading with the creeper being something that was actually written by like a sister, you know, an actual like I feel that line of you know, I have everything the same inside and like.
Right. And that is so touching, but then immediately I'm just like, but you don't, Trish.
I know.
Because I have some theories about the creeper's predilections.
Yeah. And it doesn't work.
Nah,
it's like the creeper.
He was always going to. Because he
the
always
creeper
wanted
doesn't
Derry.
care that you're an older sibling. Like,
doesn't
the
care,
creeper doesn't care about that.
Because what we get pretty early on is that, like, the creeper is like a fear-sensing being and, like, wants the one that's more scared, and that's Derry.
Yeah, because it turns out, like I was saying, how Derry has that bravado, but when it comes to actual bravery, Trish is the one who keeps her cool and can be like, I am willing to die to save my brother. And like, that's not fear.
And when she like meets, and when they like encounter the creeper, he can like smell Darius's fear, you know?
Yeah.
but like just isn't getting it from. That's why he wants Derry, right?
Yeah.
Is because he's more scared.
Another
yeah.
good sibling moment that I really love is when Giselle is telling them about how she had a prophetic dream, and she's like, "Yeah, one of you is gonna die screaming.
One of you, yeah.
The last thing you're gonna hear is the Jeepers Creepers song,
yeah.
you know, blah 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 blah." And Derry is like so desperate to know like who it is, how we stop it, and he is so terrified for I think either answer.
He's freaking out.
Either answer, you know? And like I kind of understand why Giselle's just sort of like looks at Trish.
Yeah.
You know, because Trish is the one who has it together and is the older sibling and needs to like handle those things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Poor little brother.
Poor
And
little
then,
brother.
and then on the other hand, I'm like, though honestly, you fucking started this shit.
It's
Thank
true.
God you didn't get your sister killed.
Thank God you
I
didn't
would be
get your sister
so.
killed.
But should we just talk about the creeper? Because we just are talking about the creeper. One thing I will say, just right off the bat, just because I read way too many interviews.
Sure.
One thing I do like. What is the name of the actor again who plays the creeper?
Yeah, I got that. Hold on. The creeper is in the first film, at least. It's an actor named Jonathan Breck.
Yes, Jonathan Breck. Except for the very last scene, they did put Justin Long.
It was Justin Long
because it was his eye.
Yeah.
I do like. He actually, for his audition, he actually looked up like a bunch of different like animal movements to try to inspire him. Which the one I really always notice is when he's eating the tongue, he sort of puts his head back and sort of swallows it like a bird.
Like a bird.
It's so it's like a really cool choice that he made.
Interesting.
So, anyway.
So the creeper. Oh, God. This guy. Okay. So again, like I mentioned, my research was just watching the trilogy. I also watched the reboot. But I didn't take notes on that one. And cause like it was
just its own thing.
It was clear very early that they were ignoring a lot of the original canon. I was like, okay. What I will say about the reboot is that the creeper gets like a pretty significant redesign. I mean, he still like obviously looks like a creeper, but like there are some, aesthetic differences.
Interesting. So should we start with just what we know about the creeper lore from just this movie before you tell me about the extended lore?
Yeah.
Because there's some stuff we know about him from just this one. Like we know from Giselle that she says that he's a demon or devil or some hungry thing from some dark time.
Yeah.
So that's like the closest thing we get to an origin for him.
Origin, yeah. So like we don't know. There's still a lot we don't know. But what we do know is that the creeper is dormant for 23 years.
Yes.
And every 23rd spring, it's spring specifically.
Yes.
He comes back for 23 days, which
Did you
is
think
when
about,
he gets to eat.
Or maybe they say it later. Did you think about the number 23 and like why that? The best I came up with is that 23 2 divided by 3 is 0.6 repeating, so 666.
Oh, that's stupid.
That's the bad. That was all I got, and I was like, there are some other Christian sort of like he is in a church. He's using like a desecrated church.
That's true.
And like he has Justin Long, Derry rather, even says that with all the bodies on the ceiling, it's like some psycho version of the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah. Okay.
We noticeably see Trish wearing her cross necklace.
She does have
and
a
she
cross
survives.
necklace.
And also when the creeper is attacking the psychic Giselle, she starts praying.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, and he doesn't eat her. And maybe that's because she's not afraid, but maybe she's not afraid because she has the power of Christ
of Jesus.
Heart. Yeah. So like there is some Christian
right.
stuff happening.
That's true. That's very true.
So like, but otherwise, I don't know. 23, it seems so arbitrary.
Yeah. Honestly, what's getting
like they could have just said every 666.
What I'm
like
what I'm chalking up to just kind of the general mediocrity of this film is that like the creeper does seem in a lot of ways like a Pennywise ripoff, and I know that that's not a groundbreaking thought. Right. I know a lot of people have had that thought. Like for Pennywise, it's every 27 years, so it's just like
he also is 23. Like does the fear stuff, right?
Sure. I mean,
people.
Are 27 and 23 both prime? No, 27's not prime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but 27's a perfect cube. Ooh. Okay, now I'm just getting in. But 23's prime.
Okay,
anyway,
so 3 cubes.
No, stop. So
one day instead of a literary corner, we're gonna have a mathematics corner. I don't know when, but it's coming.
Oh Lord. Anyway,
and
what was
also
I saying? Oh, and the feeding off the fear. Yeah. And I have read it. I've read it. It's been a couple of years now. And like in that book, there sort of is a strong hinting that there are other ancient beings akin to Pennywise who feed off other emotions.
So this wouldn't be like the same as Pennywise, but would be like a different
like
version
there are
of
other
the same
ancient beings that,
or something. Yeah,
other ancient beings that want.
I mean, isn't that
other things? Yeah,
it all takes place in Derry too, right?
Dairy Maid. Yeah,
and our character's name is Derry.
Oh shit! Spelled different.
Yeah,
but oh
still,
god, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
bad.
that's meant to be. I think it was a purposeful.
Yeah,
based on that.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make it good.
Yeah, so it's just honestly why 23 years. Like I don't know, because for Pennywise is 27. I don't know
because they wouldn't want to be too much of a ripoff, but it was.
Yeah. So he's got every 23 years. He's got 23 days to eat. Basically.
Yeah.
He can fly. We know that.
Yes.
In this film. He's got, I wrote down, a wicked cool axe.
I know, which is like out of nowhere.
Where he gets it. Yeah.
Though I guess in later, at least in the sequel, I remember he also had fucking throwing stars.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's got, no. In the things he gets a hold of over the course of the trilogy are astounding.
But he makes them, doesn't he?
He has to have. Yeah,
out of bone and skin.
His understanding of tool use is unparalleled.
Right?
Yes.
But I think because that's the other thing about the Creeper that I find so interesting is that he is an artiste. He's a real connoisseur.
I have a theory about that.
Okay.
About his artisanal abilities.
Because I feel isn't he making things out of skin and bone?
Yeah,
because he's using all of the materials.
He's also he seems to have knowledge of metalwork.
Okay,
I have to tell you about this. Creeper.
Okay, no, we won't. Wait, let's bring it back. Okay, just this film. Okay. So he lives in his old-timey laboratory.
He lives in a church.
A church, right, but it has weird alchemical stuff going on.
He does have weird alchemical stuff.
It's like a weird old-timey alchemical laboratory beneath the church.
His victims, because remember, we know it from this film,
yes,
that they see those the high school lovers from 23 years ago, but they're not, they're in really good shape.
Yeah, he has some sort of embalming abilities.
Yeah.
Either through science or...
And he can sew.
And he can sew.
Hand sew.
He can sew.
Flesh together.
Our last shot of him is sitting on a bar stool, doing some little art, doing his little art while he's listening to some jazz.
And he engraves and does art on the handles of his knives.
Yeah, and the way he arranges his bodies in his little Psycho Sistine Chapel is he's an artiste. He has the lovers, the prom night lovers holding hands.
They're sewn together,
arranged.
I think.
Yeah, they're arranged together.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Yeah, because he definitely has some amount of conscious thought. He doesn't speak.
No.
He's not. There was a line and they all decided to cut it, which I think was the right choice.
He does not talk. Yeah.
Yeah. But
maybe he can. But
maybe
he doesn't.
can. We know from Giselle, somehow she knows that he refers to his church as his house of pain.
And I have a theory about that.
Okay, because that's weird. How does she know that? And is he just calling that in his head, in which case she's knowing things from inside his head? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And he also has some sort of thing with crows and ravens.
Yeah.
At one point we hear coyotes howling before he appears.
Oh, sure.
And the cats seem extra freaked out. Though cats be cats.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
All the cats that the cat lady has don't really don't like having him around. Yeah. So he has the power to summon or control over crows and ravens.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. Or it's just a pretty straightforward death omen.
I was going to say, is that a power that he has, or is it just crows being drawn to this place of death? You know what I mean?
I think he can control them.
He is interesting because, like I said, with Jonathan Breck studying animals, it does make, and because he takes these different body parts, he is this real chimera figure.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. He's human parts on this kind of hybrid animalistic body.
Humanoid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still bipedal, but green and scaly.
He's got the weird, I don't even know what you call the thing that comes out of his face. That's kind of insectoid, webby.
Yeah.
Weird. And he's got the wings.
He's got wings. He's got razor sharp teeth and claws
Yeah.
and like
And like talons on his.
Talons.
Yeah, we don't see it in this film, but I
Yeah.
remember him having talons.
talons. So
Yeah.
very like
But that's just what we know from this film. Oh, except for one other thing, which is that often the power goes out before he shows up, and I don't know if that's a power or if that's like some sort of, I mean, like supernatural power, or if he is literally like, I'm just gonna clip this wire here, and like,
Right.
I'm just gonna get out my EMP, and
I don't know.
I don't know. Did they not?
Let me tell you.
Yeah, tell me more of the lore from the later films. Maybe it'll shed light.
Let me tell you about the technological shit this creeper gets up to.
Okay, yeah.
In the second and third film. So let me just take a couple seconds. Let me just give you and anyone listening a rundown of what happens in the second and third Jeepers Creepers films through the lens of
The creeper.
Yeah. So this movie, Jeepers Creepers 2, focuses on two groups of people, a like farmer family, like a father-son, who recently lost their youngest like son/brother to the creeper, was a victim of the creeper. And I think, the good old-fashioned nobody believes them or whatever.
Yeah. Sorry. Once again, I'm thinking of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Right.
Of it being a young boy.
Yeah. But the second is a school bus full of mostly adolescent basketball players, but also, so it's supposed to be a basketball team. They're supposed to have gone to play an away basketball game, but they do not have enough basketball players for a team in that school bus.
And is it a boys' basketball team? Because I remember there being at least one girl.
There is what is supposed to be most of a basketball team and 3 cheerleaders.
So they must have split buses. They must have had more than one bus. Maybe some people got they like carpooled. They could only afford the one bus, and other people carpooled in like a van or something. You know, small towns.
So
small towns do shit like that.
Yeah. So not enough boys for a boys basketball team.
Not
3
enough
cheerleaders and 3 staff, 2 coaches, and a bus driver.
Okay.
So, and the staff, the coaches and the bus driver are picked off very quickly.
Yeah.
They don't make it past the first act. But honestly,
The creeper is efficient. I will give him that.
I did really thoroughly enjoy watching Jeepers Creepers 2.
I remember liking the second one more than the first in certain ways.
It's a very entertaining 3-act play.
And I think it hit me more in that teen murder genre that I love.
Right. Yes, definitely some YA stuff happening.
Yeah.
So
with like the girl on the bus who having psychic visions.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's so YA fantasy novel.
Yeah. So it is like a pretty classic 3-act structure. Like the first act, we're just developing the characters and kind of setting the scene, meeting everyone. Act 2 is like the attack on the school bus that everybody remembers from Jeepers Creepers. It's basically the entire second act. And then Act 3 is like the climax where like our 2 groups of people finally come together and like have their last battle royale with the creeper before because that is happening on the 23rd day.
Right, it's the last day. This movie is the first. The second movie is the last. The third one takes place in between the two.
Yeah. So the first film, the one with Darius and Trish, is taking place when the creeper has 5 days left.
Oh, I thought it was his first day.
No.
Okay.
5 days left. The second film takes place 3 days later when he's got 2 days left. And then, yes, the third film takes place in between.
Weird.
I know, it's super weird.
Odd choices.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just had to figure out how can we maximize the use of this creeper? Which is like 3 movies over the course of 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so they definitely, for the second and third ones, you were mentioning the budget cuts they had to deal with in the first one. In the second and third one, they got so much fucking money. And
because the first one did like way better than people thought it would.
Really well, yeah. So they get so much fucking money. The creeper.
We talked about the fact that like Francis Ford Coppola was a producer on the first one,
right? Because
he took on Victor Salva as like a protege.
Yeah.
But it's just like weird,
very weird. So they have so much more money. So every chance they get, like the creeper is flying multiple times, and like we get to see him fly and like take off.
In the first one,
wings.
it's like kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
It's like he's getting places quickly, and we don't really know how, but it's a while before we see his wings.
Yeah. So the wings are out much more in the second one.
Yeah. For the first one, there's a long time where we really could think it was just like a person.
Yeah. and then and just in general it's much gorier. It's a lot more like they actually like show the like blood and guts a little bit more, and what I thought was really interesting is that there's a character in Jeepers Creepers 2, Scotty, who's one of the basketball players, and
Scotty.
I know, and they are really setting him up to be a final boy.
Oh.
They were really setting him up. Like, we were really focusing on Scotty and like his deal because what does happen is there's a character, her name, you're never gonna guess her name. The kind of psychic-y one.
Oh.
Minxie.
No.
Yes.
I hate it.
Minxie. So
God, we have Giselle, which is like a Jezebel thing.
Yeah,
And then Minxie,
Minxie.
like you sly minx. I don't.
like calling a teenage girl
It's a
Minxie.
weird choice.
I don't like it.
I don't.
Anyway, so Minxie is the one having these psychic visions.
But
And
also, it's something I could see a teenage girl decided to call herself.
maybe, yeah. And she has this psychic vision. So this is something that it seems to be canon, that the creeper might trigger like psychic knowledge
Yeah.
in like the people nearby who are
Okay.
maybe more susceptible to such a
Yeah.
thing, right?
Because we're definitely going to talk about Giselle a little bit more later as
Yeah.
part of my literary corner.
Yeah.
But I am curious about how it is that psychics just also exist in this world. Don't worry about it.
Right. Well, and then so Minxie has like, because of the proximity of the creeper,
Yeah.
that seems to be that's what's like triggering this.
Yeah.
And she tells them she does serve the same function as Giselle in a lot of ways from the first one. She's just like, she says that the creeper has been around for, quote, thousands of years.
Yeah.
Which
Doubt.
I'm not buying. And we established that he's using its sense of smell to decide who to take.
Right, yeah.
And that like certain people have already been marked as like, he wants you guys.
Yeah, he wants a certain body part from you. He
Yeah,
likes
yeah,
your
yeah.
smell.
And
I will say a line that I really love from Giselle, speaking about his eating people.
Yeah.
She has that one about, I think it's eaten too many hearts for its own to ever stop.
yeah,
That's like a good line.
That's
I'll give him
deep.
that. That's a good
Yeah.
line.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, exactly. And one of the people who's been like marked is Scotty, and Scotty's kind of freaking out. We're going on that journey with him.
Yeah.
And they're just giving him final boy vibes, and he dies like pretty unceremoniously. Like at the end of Act 2, before Act 3 starts, like he just basically gets got and carried away.
Oh. Well, I
like
guess
by
it's
the
kind
creeper,
of,
and
it's interesting because I
and
feel
then
like
he's gone for the rest of the film.
there's sort of an interesting thing with Derry too, where there are a lot of markers of Trish being the one who's going to die. Where she has that line where she's like, the first time she heard the story about the prom kids who died, she always thought that she would die on this road one day. She like literally says that.
Yeah.
And like when Giselle's talking about seeing one of them die, she looks to Trish, not to Derry, in a way that implies that Trish is going to die. Like there are a lot of things that sort of make it seem like Trish is going to die and Derry is going to be our final boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's interesting that then it happened again with Scotty.
It does. Yeah.
As like a subversion, almost a subversion of the final girl thing, except for not, because then we
Except
still
for
end up
not.
with the final girl.
Basically. Yeah.
So it's like,
I think a few people survive this film,
Okay,
but it definitely does seem to kind of be playing
I think
with
there
that
was
whole
something
idea.
else though. There is something else though in this film where there are more men who die than women. I don't know.
Right.
Or like men in terror.
I noticed.
Because we see often in horror movies women screaming. That's the whole Scream Queen thing.
Right, yeah.
We see so many men screaming.
Right. I have noticed that the creeper does seem to, quote unquote, pick out mostly men. And
And
I
young
would
men.
love for us, young men, especially those boys on the bus, yes. I think one girl dies
Yeah.
of the 3 cheerleaders. Like
I
one girl
mean, how
gets
many
got,
girls
yeah.
do any women or girls
and then
die in
the-
the first one? The cat lady.
The cat lady, yeah, because she messed with him, right?
Yeah, which, I mean, she went after him.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily wanted to kill her.
Right, and I would like to
Because
just...
the deleted line is even that she didn't smell so good. Like, he didn't
That's
have
right.
any interest in killing
because
her.
she wasn't scared. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
think. But also, please recall that in the first film, as they finally get a hold of some cops and they're following Derry and Trish. There's a female cop who's driving
that's
who
true.
gets incapacitated very quickly, and then the male cop in the passenger seat gets decapitated.
And then
the creeper basically makes out with him. Yeah.
To eat his tongue.
To eat his tongue like a duck or some other kind of bird would.
Yeah. No, there are some weird, like, sexy moments with the creeper. That one, and I also got those vibe when he's, like, sniffing Trish and Derry, and he's especially sniffing all up on Derry.
Can I tell you what he does in the second one? He's, like, up on the glass, because they're in a school bus. He's, like, up on the glass, and he's, like, licking the glass.
Oh, my... Well, he licks Derry or Trish?
Licks, and he, like...
I forget which one he licks. He licks Derry, I think.
I think so. And he also, in the second one, winks at one of the basketball players.
Oh, I feel bad. I feel gross inside.
So there is, like, this is, you know, kind of what I was alluding to earlier. Like, there is this weird, like, pedophilic under vibe a little.
Yeah.
Especially in the second one, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, certainly, like... homosexuality.
Well, certainly homosexuality.
Yeah.
That's for sure a definite.
Yeah, like this creeper is like...
Which could have been fun.
Super gay.
But instead it's...
So that's the second one. The third one...
Oh, wait, what about his technological know-how?
Oh, shit, yeah. So in the second one, we get... So we know by the second one that he knows how to drive. He knows how to sew. He can smash through whatever the ceiling of a school bus is made of.
Oh, damn, he's strong.
He literally smashes through it. He can create ninja stars, right? That appear to be made of human skin, like claws. Like,
doesn't one of them have like a tattoo on it?
Yeah, it has Derry's tattoo on it. Yeah, that's how you know. Yeah,
that it's fucking Derry. His stupid dumb tattoo.
Yeah, and so skin. And like claws, like I don't know if his claws like
he sheds them
if he sheds
like a cat because he's sort of an animal,
kind of, but like these like claw things and like metal, what looks like something that would require some form of soldering.
Damn, dude.
And he can throw them, and so he does because he can throw weapons. He's proficient in melee and range.
Not to mention unarmed.
Unarmed, yeah. And there is some, you know, kind of like a theory that perhaps the creeper has like telekinetic power over his weapons to like kind of aim them, or if he's just that good.
Because there's the thing about like when he eats somebody, they become a part of him.
Right.
He has a part of them. So if he has a part of Derry, then if he then makes a weapon out of Derry, that should also be a part of him because Derry is a part of him.
Ooh,
so that makes psychically makes sense to me.
Psychically, yeah. So because he's just like so fucking good at making and using weapons that it's like, what? Yeah.
Though, I mean, if he's had thousands of years to practice.
Jesus Christ. He's not thousands of years old.
Well, and plus, even if he was for 23 days, ever 23, like, what does that add up to?
What does that add up to?
I'm not going to do the math because this is not Math Corner, but I don't think it's thousands of years.
You'll know when it is.
And he has to eat a lot during that time.
He really does.
I don't know that he's sleeping, but...
No, he does. It's pretty well considered he's not sleeping while he's up that 23 days.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah. Because I don't think Derry and Trish get a moment of sleep.
No. Definitely not.
And he's still definitely around doing shit.
So he can do that stuff. What else he does? Because we know that he can run. He's a pretty fast runner. We know he can fly. And in the second one, he does this absolutely ridiculous thing where he basically hops like a frog.
Because he's an animal.
Yes.
He's a chimera.
Yeah, he like literally hops and like this giant creeper being in his weird trench coat, like hopping like a frog.
He does weird chimera stuff. It's interesting. I mean, I kind of don't hate it, but it's weird.
And yeah, and we know also that like basically the sounds he can make are like low growls mostly, but especially in the third one, he does get much louder. He like screeches and roars.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, he roars so loud that it breaks a car window.
Oh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird. Yeah.
I don't know any animal doing that.
Because he's just some guy. So that's the second one. In the third one, he becomes louder and the tech use becomes even more outlandish. When I tell you what this creeper has done to his car... It's astounding.
Even apparently the truck... I don't know enough about cars to know this, but the truck in the first one... It has been like souped up in some way. That car should not be able to go that fast. Yeah. According to people who knows. He put on some sort of truck bed in the back so that it became more of like a holding area for his other dead bodies that he collects. Like, he is a mechanic.
Yes.
As well as an artiste.
Yes. So in the third film, this is where shit gets real weird. So the third one was not good. I don't really recommend it. Because what the third film tried to do was like the entire film, it was like, this is when we're gonna like find out what this thing is and how we take it down. And there's like a cop working with a woman that the community is largely considered crazy because she knows about this creeper and has been talking about it for the last 23 years, right?
So like a new Giselle.
A new Giselle, and they won't like because sorry, back it up. The first movie starts with the 23 years previous with another one of the creeper's victims, which was like her brother or something, right? And so what the creeper victim does is he's got a machete, and then you know what the creeper does, he like grabs him and like, because he's strong enough to at least lift himself up and one other person, and like takes him.
Well, he's strong enough to burst through a bus. I'm sure he can carry somebody with his wings.
So they're pretty big wings. Yeah. What happens is the guy chops off the creeper's arm with his machete as he's being carried to his death, and the creeper arm falls, and so the creeper arm is like a player in the film, and whenever it is touched, like ungloved, unprotected, the person who touches it feels like an immense sense of anxiety and fear, and like learns more about the creeper.
That's a classic thing.
It's classic, but the thing is that they fucked it up. They just made, I don't know, they did a bad job with it, or like could have done so much better, because they were told, like, we're made to understand that like the two main characters like know now, and then they like leave a sign for the creeper because the creeper is stalking them, right?
And can read
and it says like, we know what you are, and the creeper gets really mad about it, so the creeper can read.
And I did find that interesting in the first one, where he like doesn't seem to want to be noticed or well known. Like, he has opportunities to just fucking decimate the diner where Derry and Trish go to hang out, but he like doesn't. He waits until like it's darker. He waits until they're back on the road. Like, he also goes out of he like is willing to burn down his house of pain before, so that the cops can't find information about him, I guess. Like, he's like really interested in being inconspicuous, which I do find interesting about him,
right? And
like that matters to him.
And then what we see actually in Jeepers Creepers 3, he actively destroys evidence to like keep others from understanding him. And like, when at the end of the film he finds like his hand, or he's given back his hand, he like, oh no, I don't know, he's in possession of a body part of his that he's since regrown, right? And he like literally crushes it into dust. Like, that was the other interesting thing. He's very self-aware.
Yeah.
He's organized.
He
really organized.
He's smart, like cunning.
Yeah. Yes.
Like a fox.
So, and then this third film has like even more improbable violence. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Creeper's got a creep.
There's a character. Okay, so there's these two characters. One of that have gigantic fucking guns attached to their trucks.
As one does.
Have you heard like it's called a minigun, even though it is not mini. It's like literally like a tank gun. It's huge.
I'm sure it's a mini version of the tank.
Whatever. So like, one character has this like minigun on his truck and is shooting at the creeper's truck, and it is bulletproof.
What?
And the bullets ricochet off of the creeper's truck and hit the dude shooting the minigun.
Okay, if he's only alive every 23 years for 23 days,
how is this car being kept up?
How is this car being kept up? Who is running maintenance on this car? So it's not just dead when he wakes up in 23 years. How is he staying up on the latest ammo technology?
No. There's more about the car. There's more about the car. So the tailpipe, there's at one point a tailpipe. Out of it shoots a spear on a rope, just out of the tailpipe.
What?
Yes, because there were these 4, juvenile delinquent boys, like, who find the creeper van.
Oh god.
And they're like, oh, this thing's weird.
So he has it like trapped.
It's booby trapped, like to know, like, to the nth degree. It's booby trapped. So it's booby trapped.
I guess he learned his lesson after Derry got down his pipe.
I guess. I don't know. But
time to booby trap all the pipes I own.
But this would have happened literally like 2 days later.
God damn. When did he find the time, let alone the skill.
And then not only that, but like, so he's got the truck bed, like it's a bed. So like there's the big opening in the back, right? And if like you're not careful, it's booby trapped to have like razor sharp spikes like come down, like some come up, some come down to meet.
Like a mouth closing.
Like a mouth closing, yeah.
Like his own teeth.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Why would he need it even?
And then, I'm not done, Katie, there's more! And then, he has some sort of like incendiary device or bomb that he can dislodge from the bottom of the car.
Just ready to go.
That can navigate to a target and explode.
Does it have skin on it?
No, it's made of metal.
Then that doesn't even make sense with his perhaps psychic telekinetic abilities.
It doesn't make sense. And then there's one more booby trap in the car. In the back of his car where there's back seats kind of, like back rows, whatever.
Maybe his car is like the Ghost Rider's Hell Charger where it can like take on different forms, but it's actually like an infernal stallion. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it is something that adapts and like can become
whatever it
disguised
needs to be.
as, you know, this thing, but it is like also a thing of death like he is. That's all I can think of because this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. One more thing. They like, there's this booby trap basically that like they're, you know, in the van that like this low lying spike that will like go through. So like basically to like get somebody's foot or leg or something. I know, super fucked. But what's really great is that our kind of final girl, like I think a couple people survive. Addison, whatever. Her name is. She tricks him and like gets him on the floor of his truck and like spikes him through the head. It was pretty good, pretty smart. However, like a psycho killer in a slasher, the creeper does seem incredibly difficult to.
I do like
to put down.
They have that line. I think it's like after Trish runs him over with her car because he's literally just some guy. Hit him with your car,
right?
We're gonna say more about that.
Yes,
but no, she hits him with her car. And Derek is like, do you think he's dead? And she's like, no, I don't think he just will die.
No.
Like, people don't just, like, these kind of things do not just die.
They're not just going to die.
And then she's smart enough to hit him with her car.
Several
more times. But it's for some reason, Derry is like, let's just run. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
Like, be supportive of your sister. She's right. She should hit him with her car.
And it's her car.
Let her hit him with her car.
And she does. She gets some good ones. She really gets.
She gets him. She even, like, pretends to stall so that he'll come closer so that she can then get him.
Nice.
It's really good.
But yeah, I don't like, but also like it really doesn't do much. Like it fucks up his wing and it incapacitates him.
It buys some time.
It buys some time. Yeah.
Is all it does.
What they needed. Really.
Yeah, they needed in that moment.
So, also in the second film, we learn of some very important lore over the radio, which the creeper is scanning. Is like just scanning the radio, just like hitting the buttons. And I'm like, what are you looking for?
Probably another good song.
His Jeepers Creepers song?
Yeah.
Like, are you
some good music?
Are you trying to hear a news report because you seem like aware of other people being aware of you?
He's trying to decide what body part he wants to eat next based on what song he hears. That comes up, maybe? Like if there's a song about.
Then when that's happening, we get to hear a news report basically about like finding, not the church because it would have burned down.
Yeah.
Or maybe, at the church, like, as it's burned down, like, finding reports of over 300 bodies.
Oh.
Some of which over 200 years old.
Okay.
Sewn together, but somehow still well preserved.
Okay. That probably was in the church then.
Yeah. So.
Unless he has multiple layers.
Well, it kind of sounds like he's had the main one, and then when the church burned down, he had to move.
Yeah, because then he's just in like a
down meatpacking factory.
Yeah, or whatever that. Yeah.
But
which is not as nice of a setup.
No.
As an artiste, I bet he was very disappointed.
Yeah, a little bit more industrial, a little more like, sanitized.
I'm going to definitely have to put some decorations in here.
Yeah. So he has basically until like the morning of the 24th day to go away. But like, where does he go? So he goes dormant. Like basically it's a dormancy, but like, does he need time to get to where he will go? Will he just
fall over?
Exactly. Or like, will he just like get himself up in like a scarecrow perch and just be a
scarecrow?
I don't know.
Because that's not my scarecrow.
And then after the second one, at the end of the second one, we see that the main man who lost his son to the creeper has like gotten the creeper, and he's been like chained up, and it's been 23 years later, right? And he's like got the creeper like pinned up in his barn, and like knows that the creeper's going to be coming back around pretty soon, and is ready to like shoot it with his harpoon.
Because he couldn't shoot it when it was hibernating?
But like it like doesn't do anything, or I don't know why he
like it's in stasis, and therefore no damage can be done to it.
I don't know. It's just like it's in stasis. I don't know why he didn't do something that makes more sense.
Yeah,
because then because he knows it's dormant, so he puts it up in his barn and sells it like as a roadside attraction.
Right,
calls it the bat out of hell, and like people come to pay money to see.
Which
honestly,
props.
smart.
Props.
Yeah. But it's getting close.
But also,
to being,
try burning it. I don't know.
But it's getting
holy water.
It's getting close to being 23 years, so you gotta like get ready to.
Maybe
put it
he
back
just
down
really
again.
wants it alive so that he can watch it suffer and die.
Maybe did kill his son. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean, he's lucky nothing happened to him in those 23 years.
Yeah, right. But he has another son who's also aware of the situation. I'm sure it's well known.
Maybe bring Trish in on it.
Right, get Trish in on it. Yep, she shows up at the end of the third one.
Right.
Yeah, yep. At the end of that 23 years, the creeper does look like quite emaciated, like pretty withered and like old, and
I do think
in
it's
not
interesting.
good shape.
We do get the moment in the first one after he's rifled through Derry's car, and he leaves like a fingerprint, and the cop finds it and somehow knows right away that it's like old dead skin.
Yeah.
I don't know if the cop knew it right away.
How that cop
but
knows
that is
that.
interesting that he like sheds old dead skin. Like he is constantly sort of decaying and needing new body parts. And so like, how does he sustain himself during his hibernation?
And he gets those new body parts by eating his victims.
Oh, yeah.
And like gaining whatever he eats of theirs. So like for Darius eats his eyes, right?
Yeah, so then he can see.
And then, but then there is that one in the second one where he literally takes his head off and like puts a
Which
new
means he
head
didn't even
on.
eat the head.
No, he didn't eat the head. Yeah,
He
he
just
just
put
like
it
kind of puts it
on.
on. Yeah.
So does he not even need to eat them? He just chooses to?
Or maybe with
Or
the
does
head
he
it's
even
different.
eat them? Because the only actually body part we see him eat is the tongue, which maybe was just him putting it in place. Maybe that's why he took so long making out with it, because he was getting the tongue in space.
Sure.
Because maybe he just pops out the eyes and pops in new ones. We just hear that he eats them from other people.
Right, that he's eating or just somehow.
No, but we do see him actually, in the prison, because he attacks the guards. I mean, the
arm.
prisoners first. He attacks and he does eat that.
And then he has the arm with the same tattoo on it, so we know that it's.
So I guess he is eating them.
So yeah, he kind of
But then
like.
what the fuck with the head? That's an inconsistency.
I know, it's
in the creeper's lore.
It's a gross oversight. So, yeah, like
But that does question how much he is getting other than just like to be able to see with the eyes and breathe with the lungs. If you have a brain,
right?
Do you know what that person knew?
Exactly.
And like, if these people are becoming part of him, is he now a little bit Derry?
Yeah, there does seem to be like a telekinetic or like psychic connection.
Yeah.
Certainly that like the creeper sort of like permeates, that it affects people around him,
which could
and
explain
like animals.
Some of his know-how, even though he is only alive for 23 days every 23 years.
Yeah.
If he is like psychically either through eating people,
or
like
he just like
his
ate
aura.
really, really good mechanics, and like just knows a lot about.
Yeah, when he went to go get his truck, he was like, "Oh, you seem to know a lot about this truck."
Nom, 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 nom. But like, what part of a mechanic do you eat? Like, do you eat its brain? Like,
how much of it is muscle memory?
Is this a eat your brains to acquire your knowledge situation?
Yeah.
Right? Like, could I just...
We don't know. Could you eat its heart just to gain all of its powers? Because that's like an often
Because it's
thing.
the heart? Yeah,
that's like the thing.
One.
Yeah, you eat the heart to gain its power.
I don't know. Well, there is a comic book where it's...
Oh, he's like mistaken for Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, and he's...
in Mayan times.
And then there are like, ancient Mesoamerican cultures that would like make sacrifices. Yeah.
Which
of hearts, I think. Yeah,
I don't know about accepting that into my personal canon.
Oh,
but.
so this creeper is just fucking weird, right? And in the third one of the characters refers to the creeper as ancient.
Yeah,
and I'm just not buying it. because
I'm not
as
either.
we've been saying, he's a guy.
Literally just some guy.
He's a guy.
Hit him with your car.
Like, all you have to do is just get off the highway.
Yeah.
Like, just literally go to, like I don't
he's
know.
so fucking, like, the fact that he spent so long just, like, ramming people with his car is, like, of all things.
Yeah,
and then going back to his little church house.
He does seem like
what is that?
He does seem like playful with his victims. Like he does mess with them.
Which I guess a part of it is to make them afraid to see if he gets a whiff of what he likes.
Yeah,
I get that, but then also he just sort of like he dumps some bodies and then he drives off and it's like in the middle of the day. And is that just to look for bodies or like is he doing other where does he go with his day?
Right.
Does he go to his I don't know, a sewing class? Does he learn the latest techniques of mechanical
and so,
work?
I wonder,
does he just enjoy a good drive?
Right. And so like is he transporting bodies? Like is he in the same like he's in that church until it burns down?
Yeah.
But
till
like
he burns it down as far as we know.
That's
It's
true.
him.
He burns it down.
Like he chooses to burn it down.
He knew he needed to. Yeah. So he's consistently destroying evidence.
Yeah.
He's very self-aware.
Yeah.
And like he wears people clothes.
Which is like to be disguised.
Yeah.
But like
and also like what's up with his hair? He's got like this weird just like back strip of white hair.
I mean, I think the thought is that like he wouldn't have his own hair unless he ate it.
Okay.
So that's like hair he ate.
Okay.
You know, or something. Right? Because how would he have his
man.
own hair? He doesn't have his own anything. I don't know.
Do you want to?
Because.
And so, like, if the creeper is ancient, let's just entertain the idea,
even though it's stupid. Okay, no, I
not
have a theory
true,
about
'cause
how
he's just
he could
some
be
guy.
ancient. Because as far so my pretty little headcanon.
Yeah, I wrote down in my head canon.
Okay, so my pretty little canon, because we see in the church down in the basement, he has like some sort of little alchemy setup with some sort of altar with like some sort of demon carved into it.
Oh,
right.
That comes up in the reboot.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the best I can do with him being ancient is that this is some sort of priest who made some sort of deal with some sort of demon. You two,
very similar to my headcanon.
Like,
yes,
to get like, and maybe even this wasn't how he wanted the deal to go, but looking for like immortal life.
Yeah.
And that like the deal was maybe subverted by this demon, and he is now, partially possessed by this demon, filled with this demon hunger, but he's still just some guy.
He's just a guy.
He's just some guy.
That is
but
really
also the
similar.
demon is ancient. You know what I mean?
That is really similar to my headcanon.
And like maybe this isn't the first person that the demon has made some sort of deal with.
Oh, definitely not.
Right?
And maybe has been around in North Central Florida.
But like, I know the scene was deleted,
years.
but this version of this guy has a southern twang.
Right, that's true. Yeah, so in the deleted scene where the creeper does actually get a line, he has like an American South
southern
kind of
accent.
Yeah. And apparently that is just what the actor.
I think that might just be
his
voice. Yeah, it was just his voice.
I love that for him.
But like, yeah, that just sort of adds to him just being some guy. And I know it's deleted, so maybe we shouldn't count it. But like, it fits in my or excuse me, did he eat a voice box?
Did he eat vocal cords?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god. I don't
know. It just
know.
gave him an accent.
Yeah. So that's totally so similar to my headcanon.
Yeah.
So the creeper's just some guy. So actually, not so much like a dark priest, but more like I was thinking more Hellraiser vibes. Like a person just like a regular person wanting more power, like
getting into the dark arts,
or like.
My only reason for
through an act of their own hubris, like getting involved in something they didn't mean to.
My only reason for saying some sort of priest is because I got some vibes in like the church with that Christian subversion stuff,
totally,
and like the fucked up Sistine Chapel and things like that, where it had the vibes of how like the satanic panic Christian understanding of satanic cults are like obsessed with Christianity. Yeah, he's like weirdly obsessed with Christianity.
This is fair.
While while
you make a really
desecrating
good point.
That was the vibe. Though he doesn't need to be a priest for that. He could just been like.
I guess I wasn't even like giving him that much credit because he is just some guy.
Because he's just some guy.
So I think he's some guy who got caught up maybe like trying to seek out more power. Yeah. Maybe some like sick, twisted like pleasure game or something.
Yeah.
Maybe got in over his head, whatever, with some dark forces or black magic or whatever.
Yeah.
A demon, whatever, and became the creeper.
Yeah.
And he is just the newest in a long line of creepers.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And is a better story.
That because that creepers have been around for thousands of years, and he's just one of them.
Right. And then it would make sense
like
for him
like
to
Black
have...
Panther. Like anyone can have the powers of Black Panther. Not anyone, but
Right.
like multiple
but
people.
it's something that is like kind of passed down.
Yeah,
It's like
multiple-
generational or like other people can take up the mantle.
have the power of the Black Panther.
If they go through the ritual. Perhaps this guy
to become the creeper. Yeah.
went through the ritual.
That, but for the creeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
Because there's just so many things he does that are just like
he's
such
not
a
ancient. I'm
he's
sorry,
just such a
bro.
guy.
Yeah.
Like he thinks he loves his little bee eating you
Yes.
vanity license plate.
Which he had to make.
He had to make it himself. He took the time to make that. That's such a guy thing. Not like in a gendered way, but like in a human way.
This is
like
a human.
It's such a guy. Like he's just some guy.
Just obviously a human, yeah. And because while, just as far as just in the creature design, like, yes, there are inhuman things about him, the wings and the talons and the weird face web.
And like
But,
his movements are all animalistic.
I suppose, but like he is also just a guy.
Like he just sort of
Like
walks around
he
like
looks
some guy.
like he has the silhouette of a human. He's wearing human clothes.
He does so many little like joke things that are like funny to him in a way that's just like so some guy.
Just a guy.
And the way that like, I don't know, Freddy Krueger is kind of just some guy.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, he's also the supernatural being who's like infecting dreams or whatever, but he was also originally just some guy.
Just a guy.
And he does things that are just things that like some guy would do.
Yeah.
I've just like have that vibe from the creeper.
I do also just want to say that, like, again, I did watch also the reboot, but didn't take notes. But I think the reboot goes into that a lot more.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit more like voodoo. There's like, it's kind of alluded that there's like a creeper cult.
Oh.
Again, like if we pay attention to the comic book,
Right, yeah.
that like there are like, ancient Mesoamerican societies and civilizations like making rituals and sacrifices,
which is super cool and not racist.
yeah. Well, I think we're just about that's the thesis statement.
Yeah.
He's a guy.
He's a guy. Hit him with your car.
Hit him with your car, like Trish did. But Derry was like, "You have to go back."
Like, oh, now you want to run away, Derry? Now,
Derry. God. Anyway, so that's the thesis. The creeper's a guy, and can do crazy things.
Yeah,
like
he's just a guy who always loved the arts, and now he finally has the time to really pursue his passions.
He works well with his hands. He likes working with his hands.
He does.
Yep.
And also he kills to eat.
Whatever, it's fine. So, but yeah, speaking of the definitely not racist, it's like, the character of Giselle, who we haven't really talked about, we need to get into.
Let's get into Giselle.
Like, immediately, she, like, really gives off, like, magical Negro vibes.
I know.
And it's like, really?
I didn't realize it at first because we meet her on the phone first.
Uh-huh.
And I, like, didn't remember her enough from the first time I watched it. And then when she appeared, I was like, oh
no.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
As like the only person of color in this whole
and doesn't
movie.
she like call him baby and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she has that. Yeah. Because it is just sort of like she is the only other supernatural element that we have in the first one. Obviously, it gets expanded later. But for the first one, it's like we have the creeper. Yeah. And we have this one magical lady who is black.
Who seems to have a history of these what appear to be psychic abilities.
Visions, yeah.
But like
everybody
really
thinks she's crazy.
Get kicked into high gear when the creeper's around.
Yeah.
And like she seems to have knowledge of what the creeper thinks and knows, which is pretty interesting. So
this is actually one of the things, as a bit of a bridge between these 2 points. I am a little bit like confused about whether the song Jeepers Creepers playing is like a foretelling of his coming that he causes, or if it's just that she had a vision of that song playing when Derry died.
Right.
And when it played in the car, that was actually just sort of like a coincidence, because it wasn't actually the old timey Jeepers Creepers song.
It was
like
a different version.
It was a different,
and
was
the
like some
creeper
song
likes the old version.
Yeah. So like that, So I'm just like, so is that actually just because of the psychic foreseeing it? Because, I mean, he doesn't refer to himself as the creeper, you know?
Right. But, like, is there some, again, like, psychic connection between the creeper and that song?
Yeah. But it's not like he's always going after eyes. So it's like when he's going after a different body part, does he need to find a different track to get psychically connected to?
Right. What other, like, creepy 1930s track?
Yeah. The rest of the time, does he just go back to Here Comes the Boogeyman? Is that like his jam?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. So that is a question I have.
Yes,
I think
totally.
like maybe it is just the psychic
I was under
for seeing it.
Yeah, I was under the impression, like, when I first watched this, and like my understanding before we watched it again was that it was like a foretelling.
Right, that was my vibe too.
Yeah.
To the point that like when I hear that song,
Yeah.
I still instantly get a little bit of like a little bit of a chill for a
Yeah,
moment
yeah.
before I'm like, pull it down, Katie.
But I actually think
I think it might have
like
just
that more.
that it was just kind of like the psychic foresaw it,
Saw,
and that
heard
song
the
coming on
song,
then was
yeah.
a coincidence.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't what she was talking about.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that song. I think it was a different song using some of the lines from it.
Yeah. It was,
know?
yeah.
Because it was like, a later song. I don't know.
Well, I just think, say whatever you want to say, but like, I think this is Literary Corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then take us in.
Literary Corner.
Because we are also artists who appreciate a good tune. Yeah, no, I do. Because Giselle is one of my favorite types of characters in the sense that she is someone who's like cursed to see the future and know things about the future and be powerless to change it.
And understand things about the world that the other people around her don't have to deal with.
And it's specifically the thing about telling people knowing that it won't change anything. The like helplessness of it.
Yeah.
Because like she says early on that what she sees comes true, but she still calls up Derry. She still arrives at the police station, putting herself at risk, trying to stop it. Like she still is trying to get them to safety, even though she's like, but these things are going to happen. Like she seems to know.
She makes it her problem.
Yeah. Hoping to change the future while knowing that like she can't. Like deep down, she knows kind of that it's futile.
Yeah.
She knows what's going to happen. And it did immediately.
Just makes her feel better to try still.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mostly just wanted to do this as my literary corner to just sort of seep a little bit into that type of character archetype being my favorite. One of my favorites. And it really goes back to Cassandra.
Right.
Because talking about Cassandra of Troy, you know, in Greek mythology. Because she could see the future because of a curse by Apollo. That also she was cursed so that nobody would believe her prophecies were true, even though they were always true. So the people of Troy believed that she was fully crazy.
Yeah.
And we see that with Giselle. The cops are like, she's crazy. Don't listen to her. Giselle, get out of here. Coming in here with your crazy things again. So goddamn crazy.
She's
you
like,
know.
I'm not crazy.
But like, poor Cassandra, she saw the coming Trojan War.
Yeah.
She saw her family getting killed. She saw the fall of the city. She saw her own capture and eventual murder. Like, and there was nothing she could do about it. There's this academic, Seth Sheen, who he writes about her scene in Aeschylus's Agamemnon play.
Yeah, that.
There are a lot of different versions of Cassandra, but
Certainly, yeah.
But Aeschylus wrote a play about Agamemnon.
Okay.
Who's the general of the Greeks who took Cassandra as like a war prize and brought her back home and then got her involved in getting killed by his wife. But Seth Sheen describes her as combining deep, true insight with utter helplessness. And I love that idea. And I think that's true of Giselle too, where it's like, for Cassandra, she can't even warn people of what's to come because they won't even believe her. But then I also started to think about like, even if she could get people to believe her, would that have been possible to change? Like, would that have still even changed anything?
Yeah.
Because especially in Greek mythology, fate is like a very stable thing. It's not really easily altered. And I'm like thinking about the case of Oedipus Rex. Because it's the attempts to alter fate that actually makes fate come to pass in his case. Like there was a prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother.
Yes.
And so his parents are like, let's abandon him in the wilderness to die.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. Nothing to worry about. But then, of course, that doesn't happen. He grows up and unknowingly kills
his
the
father
king,
and
his
marries
father,
his
and then
mother.
marries his mother. You know,
Yep.
like he doesn't know he's doing it.
Yep.
And it's like, maybe if he had been raised by his parents with love and care, go figure,
That wouldn't
he
have
would have
happened.
had no reason to kill his dad and certainly no desire to marry his mother, because like once he does find out that like,
Because he marries his mom not knowing
yeah,
it's his mom.
yeah, once he does find
Yeah.
out that like that's what his real relationship is, a lot of versions have him gouge out his own eyes.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
'Cause,
story
like,
I always heard. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to see. And like,
Yeah.
why should he? Because like a seer's prophecy is what caused the problem. So
Right.
like taking away your eyes, and then of course in Jeepers Creepers it's all about the eyes,
Right,
and
yeah.
getting his eyes taken away and what you see, and it's really cool. And it did make me wonder about like, because I always felt like Giselle kind of implies that Trish is the one who's going to die. When
Kinda,
Derry is
yeah.
asking her,
Yeah.
and like, who is it? Giselle looks at Trish,
Yeah.
and they have this moment where they all seem to think it's Trish.
Yeah.
And my first thought was that like she lies, and maybe it's to like kind of calm down Derry, or because she still thinks she can change things and save them both, and Derry's the one who's freaking out.
Yeah.
And
he's
so
the
part of
one
her
with
is
the
actually
stinking of fear.
yeah, and maybe part of her is even just looking to Trish for like help me calm down your brother.
How do you
What
how do I deal with
I
your
don't
brother?
want to
I don't
answer
know.
this question. What do I do? But then my other thought was like, what if in her original vision it was Trish?
Maybe.
And she's not lying. But learning about that like changed Trish and Derry's actions. You know what I mean? Like something about Trish having had more time to like think about that being her fate and like going to die, and like having time to like almost accept it and accept the fact that like, well, it'll be me, then that means it won't be Derry. So I'm not afraid of that because that's not as scary as
Right.
Derry dying.
Right.
Like that's part of why when it does go for her brother, she's like so ready to step up and be like,
Yeah.
no, you are going to take me instead.
Yeah.
And like not be afraid. And it goes back to what you're saying about how like Derry is so afraid.
So scared.
And
Yeah.
that the creeper likes that. And that's part of why he takes Derry, is because
Yeah.
he can smell the fear.
Yeah.
Maybe if Trish didn't already know that this was like going to happen no matter what, she would have been more scared. And maybe would have smelled better to him. Is
Yeah.
that anything? I don't know. Or is that a crazy theory that I'm
Yeah.
coming up with out of
That's
nowhere?
really interesting. Yeah, it's like because and this is something that goes throughout the trilogy, is like a person, I think in all three it's a woman.
Yeah.
Who have like a psychic connection and like have an understanding
Yeah.
of the creeper and its lore that the other people around her kind of brush off.
Yeah.
Right? And so like, is that part of whatever this essence that is the creeper, even though this one's just some guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But like whatever the like
But the demonic, or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
essence, that the
Yeah.
curse, whatever it is.
of that makes one the creeper.
Yeah.
Like also, well, no, because you know, you make a really good point that yes, in Greek mythology, like fate is very well defined and like
Yeah.
is a big deal, but like creeper's not Greek.
No.
He's
Yeah,
like
so I'm not sure that
Mesoamerican,
maybe.
seemingly.
Or at least he was interpreted that way by Mesoamericans.
Fair. Yeah,
don't know
maybe
that
he's
he started
everywhere,
there.
right? But
Yeah.
like the creeper we know is the one in north central Florida.
Yeah, he's fucking Florida man in the
Yes.
newspaper.
So I don't know, like maybe some voodoo or something could
Right?
be involved or something. Or other like Afro-Cuban religion, maybe something like that happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which would have been interesting with Giselle's character.
Yeah.
But they didn't really go that route.
They
which
do-
honestly,
again-
thank God, because I would not have.
They picked up on that a little more in the
Yeah.
reboot. Yeah.
I would not want that sort of storyline in Victor Salva's hands.
Yeah, fair.
For many reasons.
Yeah, good point.
But I do wonder if there is something about, the fate not being as much like the psychic visions.
Yeah.
The idea of the future isn't a fixed point, and that maybe it could be changed, and that knowing about the future actually changed it to be not Trish anymore, because it changed her from being somebody who was scared and going to get captured and not knowing what was going on and freaking out,
Right.
to then instead making this act of like love and bravery, which is not delectable to the creeper at all.
Right.
She
It's
has
not
this moment of
his
like,
jam.
take me instead.
Yeah.
I won't fight you, which is probably the worst thing she could
Yeah,
have
that's
said.
the wrong. Yeah, that's
But
the
she had
opposite of what you
accepted
should
her
have said.
fate, so she
Yeah.
wasn't going to fight him. And
Yeah.
like, so does it come down to? I don't know. It was just a thought I had about like why Giselle looks at Trish in that moment.
Yeah.
And why there are so many markers of it being Trish who's going to die.
Yeah.
Like saying she always thought she would die on this road and things
Yeah.
like that. And Derry having more of kind of a final boy vibe. Like maybe there was a different version where Giselle didn't get involved and Trish was the one who was taken. I don't know. It was just a thought I had.
Huh.
That's my little literary corner. It's just a little short little aperitif or something.
I love it. Yeah. Well, because we spent so much time talking about this fucking creeper.
Because he's just some guy.
He's some guy. Just
But
to say that
Giselle
he's
is
some guy.
not just some gal.
Yeah,
She
Giselle's
has
pretty
psychic
cool.
powers.
Yeah. Yeah, and then now I'm kind of thinking about is interesting the like psychic abilities in the first film are about being able to see the future.
Yeah.
But the psychic abilities in the second and third are about like understanding the past.
That is interesting.
Huh. Maybe just like for retconning or something.
But
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, part of it comes down to the fact that these movies are just not well written.
No, these are mediocre films.
These are
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They have some really good horror moments. They have some honestly good acting. They have like good I mean, I think Gina Phillips talks about how she has this quote that I liked where she's like, even though I know Jeepers Creepers is a genre movie, the thing that drew me to the script is that it is a drama until the creeper shows up. It's a relationship movie in a lot of ways. It's a brother-sister relationship movie.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's true. And I think that's something that's really great about this. So like, I do think there are moments in this movie that are well done.
Yeah.
And good.
I mean,
But overall, like, as he's just some guy, it's just some movie.
it's a movie. Yep. It's a movie. All right. And yeah, maybe if we were like 20 years old when this movie came out, we'd be like, yeah, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But since we were much younger and in a more like impressionable part of our brain development, it just kind of snuck in there. But yeah, watching it again, it's like, yep, like
It's
watching the trilogy, yep, like these movies are fine.
They're
sure
are movies that exist in this world.
Don't knock it out of the park though.
But I mean, I'm glad that I got to talk a little bit about psychics and like being unable to change fate.
And what also I think it's worth noting that there is remember the Cassandra reference in Scream 2, where
I don't remember.
Sidney Prescott is doing a play.
Oh, she does the play.
And she's doing Cassandra.
Oh, I love that part. I totally forgot about it. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's because Scream is a well-written series.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Kevin Williamson is much more talented.
Yeah.
As
and
a writer.
also probably a better person.
Yeah.
Well, not even just probably.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Some stuff could come out about Kevin
I
Williamson
know.
in
That's
like
why I
5
said
years.
probably, but I was like,
I don't know, man. Things
one can never know, dude.
Yeah.
We don't know these people.
Media can age so poorly in such a short amount of time.
Is it time for a game?
It's time for the game.
So I did find a dumb website where we can just try to guess some license plates. We're
Okay,
just
so
going to
it's
try
a-
like 10 of these or
It's
something.
a Kentucky license plate. I don't know if that's relevant or not.
I don't think so, but sure.
It's BDNFLCN.
Bod and fly. No, fuck. BD. Boating. Bod and fly. Damn, we need Trish and Derry. This is okay. We can also click if we
Is
don't-
it supposed to start easy?
I think it just starts random.
I'm going to start with Sorry, I have no clue.
What is it
Okay.
supposed to? It's bad influence.
Not even close.
Okay, this one is a Connecticut license plate that says INFL8D. Inflated?
Inflated. That one was
That's
easy.
I don't know about that. That's a weird one to have as a license plate.
We did it. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, a New York license plate. RDMNSTR. Roadmaster.
Road Monster.
Road Monster.
Because that's an N.
There's no N in master.
No.
Silly goose.
Silly goose.
Yay, we
Yeah,
did
okay.
it. Okay.
Okay,
and
so here's a Nevada
on a-
road Range Rover.
on a Range Rover.
It says URNTAL1. You're something about national one? Your national one? That doesn't make sense. That's horrible. Who would do that? Urine. No, not urine.
No.
Tall one. Tally.
You rental? No.
You rental one. You rental one.
Can I hit
Yeah.
Okay.
We're bad at this.
This is
Or
bad.
people are bad at this.
You're not alone.
I guess.
I don't like it. No.
like it.
Okay. SLOCRZE.
Slow
Cruise.
craze?
Slow
Oh,
cruise.
That makes more sense. I was like, what's a slow
cruise.
craze? Oh, well, this one's obvious. Here's a Texas one that is just
Oh,
LOV3BUG.
yeah, love bug. Yeah.
Love bug. How many people have that? Come on, Texas.
Another Connecticut plate. Wow. Okay. GNFLCN. Smith.
Guns.
Gunsmith. Yeah, it's straight up the word Smith.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know what else it would be other than gun.
Gunsmith.
Which is
That's weird. Okay.
Okay, here's Kansas. ECT
On a Honda Civic.
EC2 PLSM. Isn't this the one from like the Ghostbusters? It's like ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm, but the second one? Ectoplasm?
Oh, yeah. But I think it's just ectoplasm.
All right, I'll try it. It was ectoplasm. That's weird. Okay.
This Montana plate is 1STRLST. So first
in real estate.
First in real estate.
I don't know.
The first realist.
Yeah, it's got to be first.
It's got to be first. But first
RLST.
Yeah, first one street's lost. First maybe lost? Something with lost?
First lost? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, plus there's an extra R in there for that. That doesn't work. First realist. First in real estate.
I'm going to say first in real estate. First or last. No.
First
all right.
Or last. Okay, where are we at? One more? Last one?
Sure.
Okay. Arizona. FNDRVCE. Fun divorce.
Yeah, definitely.
No. Wait, no, the R and the V are in the wrong spot.
But it is giving divorce, yeah.
But
it's not.
Maybe it's
yeah.
fun drive. Fun.
What?
Okay, we are tied for having 5 correct and 5 wrong.
Okay, so here's.
We've got to bring this home.
Okay, we can do this.
This is our win or lose.
Okay,
we gotta
boy.
get
okay.
Fun divorce. No.
Fun divorce, yeah, that's I don't know.
Fender Vice? Is Fender Vice anything?
No.
Fenders are on cars.
I guess.
I mean, there's a nice DRV drive, fun drive,
CE?
That doesn't work. Why would you take voice? Finder voice? Find your voice?
Oh, God.
Do you think it's find your voice? Because if it is, it's really bad.
That's really bad. I hope not. Let's...
Come on, Arizona.
Let's find out. Let's put ourselves out of our misery here. It was Find Your Voice. That was bad.
That was the stupidest thing I've ever
Okay, so
heard.
we technically didn't lose because we got 6.
6.
So
okay, so we're winners.
We're winners.
We're basically as good as Trish and Derry.
Basically, yeah.
We would have caught that was bee eating you.
I probably would have thought it was beating you.
Yeah. I also definitely would have thought, instead of, because it ends up being sexy forever, but he reads it as like gay forever or something. He reads it wrong, the first one that they see, because it's like he thinks it's a 6AY or something.
Oh, and it's sexy.
Yeah, it's like 6. Yeah, he
gay,
reads it as a G instead of as a 6, so he thinks it's gay forever instead of sexy forever. And like, you know what, me and Derry, same wavelength.
Same, yeah.
More evidence he might be gay.
Yeah, who knows? And yeah, the creeper's at least bi. So
I mean, the creeper either has no sexuality or homosexuality, actually, is how I feel.
Fair. Good point, yeah. Okay, are we done talking about this?
Yes, we can be done about it, and we can also be more careful about our choices in the future.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
probably
know.
won't, but we'll definitely at least have feelings about it on the pod.
It's one of my favorite Bart Simpson quotes. He I think Lisa wants him to do something, and he's like, I can't promise I'll try, but I'll try to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't promise.
Yeah,
I'll try.
We'll
but
definitely try to try.
So, next month.
This has been.
Oh, this has been
Deep Thoughts, Shallow Plots.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
Next month, so for our March episode, and March has one of Katie's favorite holidays in it.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day.
Which is funny because I don't drink.
Yeah, right.
Which I feel like is the only reason people like that holiday. But I just really like the color green and Irish people.
Yes, and Irish history and culture. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're. So you might be thinking, oh, we're going to do Leprechaun. No, we're not going to do Leprechaun.
I know nothing about Leprechaun.
It's a lot.
I don't want to know anything about Leprechaun.
It's a lot. So yeah, we're going to be covering The Hollow from 2015.
Yes, which is an actual Irish film.
Yeah, so look out for that in the month of March. Always thanks to Sound Guy Matt.
Yes. Always check us out on Instagram.
Yep, at Deep Thought Shallow Plots.
Give us a like and review.
And until next time, have you seen the cats yet?